Divorce is one of the most challenging transitions in life, and without the right guidance, it can quickly turn into a disaster. Welcome to Dodging Divorce Disasters, the show that helps you navigate the legal, financial, and emotional pitfalls of divorce before they happen. In each episode, I sit down with a top professional in the divorce community to hear real-life war stories, cautionary tales from the trenches of divorce. But I won't leave you with just the horror stories. The experts will break down exactly what went wrong and, more importantly, how you can avoid making the same mistakes. Whether you're in the early stages of separation, deep in the process, or supporting someone through it, we are here to help you move forward with clarity, confidence, and fewer regrets. I'm your host, Hilary Hawkins, and I am a local expert in divorce real estate. I am so excited to be sharing these incredible professionals with you. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. I am back with a phenomenal guest today. She is a new friend, new meaning I haven't known her for years and years and years, but a great friend. And I cannot tell you how excited I am to have her and how much you're going to learn and the interesting stories that she has to share. Hilary Porta, how are you?
I am so honored to be here this morning with you and just share this time. It's just I was so excited when you invited me on.
Oh my gosh. I mean, from the moment I met you, I knew you were a special lady. And then to hear your story and to get to know you more and hear more about your life, it's been a real honor. So I'm
Mm.
really glad that I know you're very busy. So I'm very honored myself to have you on the podcast. So
Mhm.
thank you for being here.
Thank you just deeply.
Well, I want you because you have your finger on a lot of things. You run a lot of businesses, and so I am just going to let you kind of tell our listeners who you are, what you do, the name of your companies, and all of that kind of thing.
Okay. Perfect, perfect. Well, gosh, I've gotten to really architect, and I use that word very intentionally. Just a beautiful life at this point. My own founder's journey really didn't start out in a boardroom like it does with so many. I've been in boardrooms. Yes, but it was really born more out of fire. And going through this high conflict divorce that I went through, it really stripped me to the bone and it forced me to rebuild everything from my identity to my worth, net worth too, and
Yeah.
my purpose. And, literally from zero. And, that was like the moment kind of I stopped chasing everything and just started really architecting, right, my life with great intention and really seeking alignment. And that was 16 years ago. It's so hard to believe
Wow.
now. I mean, I've built multiple businesses. I own Equip to Elevate Incorporated. I own a kind of a bespoke coaching and consulting practice. It's called H Porta Coaching and Consulting. And I also near and dear to my heart and yours, right, is my third company called R3 International Incorporated. And it's all about rebuilding, reinventing, and reemerging. So truth is I get to work with everybody from celebrities to, gosh, Formula One teams, professional athletes, a lot of high performing, founders, to even teens, even struggling, with their identities and needing that. And so I guess from the inside out, I'm the one that usually people call when they're ready to burn the box, not just think outside it, right? And so it's really true, helping people really rewire, right, their identities and heal from those, subconscious blocks and, kind of the conditioning that we all went through, and then create a life, architects really, kind of like I, said,
Mhm.
architect a life that really matters and that you can, feel like you're leaving more of a legacy, which is like what you're doing, your legacy building, right? And that is so huge. And so I guess the truth is that my work is really part strategy, but part soul surgery.
Right. No,
Yeah,
you're right.
it is. And so, it's really funny. I have a ton of nicknames. Like one I got when I was in corporate, and it's called the Velvet Hammer because I'm nice. I am always nice, but I am great at execution, right? So, let's get it done. But And then the other one is about generational shifting, and that one, again, is so near and dear to my heart because of the divorce, because I really wanna be a generational shifter. I want, you know, I want our grandchildren. You've got
Right.
grandbabies,
I
so
do.
you understand, we don't wanna pass these limitations and these belief systems and all the shame and the guilt and the fear and the scarcity and all that stuff down. So if I can help that, that's what I'm in. So again, I am just all about architecting.
And I love that because what you said is so true. It is not when you get divorced, it's not just one part of your life that
Gosh,
you have to redesign. It
no,
is every part of your life. And make your or this is my opinion, to make your life whole again and to make it yours, you need to touch on every part of your life. You may like a part of it as it is, and that's fine. But you
right.
still need to touch on it and address it and make sure that
Uh,
you're okay with that part, and
oh
if
my
you are,
gosh.
fine, check that off. But if you're not, then let's redesign it in some way.
Well,
That is good. Architect is such a good,
yeah.
um
Well, and it's really funny because, the way I look at it, if you think about it, it's like have you ever renovated a house?
have.
Okay, so you know firsthand and really intimately what that's about. I guess I like in the work I do because what I do is I really strip it back. I
Mhm,
strip it back to the studs, girl.
mhm,
And look at the subconscious wiring, right? And what are the conditions? What are the limits? And then we pull out, literally extrapolate, like you said, what are the really parts that are juicy that I love?
mm,
But what are the other parts that I need to really let go?
right.
And I mean, this isn't therapy. It's not really coaching per se. It's more about kind of a soul recalibration, if that
Yeah,
makes
it's very unique,
yeah.
very unique.
So, it's about, in some ways, like an identity rebirth.
Yeah,
Kind of I call it my coming out party.
that's great too, because that is so true.
Yeah.
As women that are divorced and men too, do you only work with women or you work with
No, I am not it's so funny, everybody thinks I only work with women, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
work
because
with
I
the
feel
human.
like we think as women divorcing, we take it harder, but that is not true because there
Oh,
are a lot of men out there that go through a divorce that have a very hard time
oh my gosh.
recalibrating their life,
Well,
and
and
so
there's not as
that's
much
great
of
to
us.
know.
Yeah, and, to be truthful, Lori, there's just not the support. I've had so many men reach out because initially my programs were they were for women because that was what I could speak to, through my own kind of messy
Yeah,
everything. But I had so many men reach out and said, "Hey, man, everything that you said touched my heart too, but I need help." And
yeah,
so, I started really doing the deeper dives of like how to heal the masculine soul and what all that looks like. And because as women, we got great support systems, okay? And there's a sisterhood, but unfortunately,
yeah,
men, they don't have that, not always. And so,
right,
I wanted to help provide that for them as well. So it's
yeah,
really important.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree. Alright, we could just stay on just this, but we need to move on because we have so much, and we don't want this to be 3 hours long. Okay, I always ask someone to give me some fun facts. I don't know if I would technically call this a fun fact, but it is a very interesting, unique fact. So you have died not only once, but twice. Is that correct? Like,
It is.
really literally died, your heart quit
Yeah,
beating.
absolutely.
Okay, tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Well, I'll skip the kind of just the whole story, but here's what I want to say about it. And it was real funny. I was on a panel just the other day and somebody brought it up and they said, and they said, we don't have a long time for the story, but what did you get out of it? And I said, okay, here's the deal. It was the most delicious, beautiful, radical experience ever. And the truth is, and you and I have spoken about this before. Okay, so the Bible, the good book says 65 times. So in other words, we should pay attention to this. But it says, "Do not be afraid."
Yeah, one
Well,
for every day of the year.
there we go, right? It's like reminding us, "Hey, hello, don't be afraid." There's some really good stuff. And what happened was, yeah, I did. I flatlined twice and it was the most beautiful, delicious experience. And I think the biggest thing I want to leave you with, and I think we've talked about this before, but and I'll make it, kind of short, It's the absence. It was the absolute absence of fear, of shame, of guilt, of frustration, of
Ah,
anger, of scarcity, all the things that we deal with here on earth, right? It was that, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful, and I'm looking forward to going back to my
I
true
know. Why do I cry every time I'm around you?
it's so funny. Everybody talks to me, and they're like, "You just make me cry all the time." I'm like,
I know, but
"See,
I
but
mean, it's
one of
so
my."
true.
Well, and yeah, but, and I think that's one of the things too is, um, I think that you're tender and you're beautiful and you're lovely, and I think that that's one of the things that people do get because the biggest thing I wanna leave somebody with is that I really see them.
Yeah,
I not only see them, but I love them because that's really what it's all about is
right.
everybody's worthy. One of my nicknames, like I said, I have a whole bunch, but one of them is the shame slayer, right? And it is the truth because, man, if there's one thing I can do left, right, on this earth is to help people get freedom, right? Just that freedom and really remember who they truly are. I
Yeah,
mean, girl, we've got the divine DNA in us, right?
right.
And we're like, if you're a believer, you're the daughter of a king. If not, you're amazing. You're this magnificent
Mhm.
masterpiece. And so, if nothing else, if I could help people remember that means that's the world to me.
You're a good person, Hillary.
I'll pay you later, remember?
All right. Well, to bring it more in point with
Yes.
dodging divorce disasters, you
Yes.
do work with a lot of people that are going through a divorce.
Yes.
And all of us that work with people that are going through a divorce have seen them make some decisions or choices
Yeah.
that has put them in really bad situations.
Yes.
So I hope as people listen to this that we can give them some information, some tips, some advice that can help them dodge these particular divorce disasters. So what do you have for us?
Oh my goodness, because I do a lot of the relationship recalibration, right? I mean, actually, this was last weekend. I was at a VIP trying to save a marriage and help them reinvent so they wouldn't have to go through this whole process. So, for me, I guess one of the biggest things is, and people are going to go, really, that's it? I'm like, yeah, actually, it is. But if they could learn to be still in the chaos. And what I mean by that is, when our nervous system is so dysregulated because, you've got all of these really, really big emotions, divorce is hard. I liken it to being in the wilderness. I mean, holy gosh, it's a dangerous, horrible place. And so your nervous system is, literally it's fueled with nothing but, the negative chemicals like, the cortisol and things like that, because you're in a constant fight or flight. And, it's the uncertainty of what's going to happen legally, then not only once you get past the actual divorce, oh, it's like blank, now what?
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
I have to rebuild, I have to figure out my life, I have to normalize the kids, I have all of these whole things,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
and so if I can really ask people to just take a step back, learn to be still for a second, and when you can do that, then you can make a better decision, right? Because there's so often when you're in when you're in it,
Yeah.
you're one of the things I like to do is I like to climb, and, you know, as a climber, it's really sometimes you're too close to the rock face and you can't see, right? And so you might make a wrong move and you're going to go down, right? And so I think that's the biggest thing is if you can have a spotter, right? I mean, that's really someone to help you midwife this baby.
Right. Right.
Have someone to walk alongside you, then you don't feel like a lone ranger. You don't feel like you're, all alone because what I've found over the years is that so many times the relationships that become so ruptured with family members and friendships, they change because there's only so much that they can listen to and feel it. And so if you can slow down and have somebody to walk alongside you and help you rebuild, reinvent, and reemerge in the proper way, then you
Mhm.
don't tend to make the parenting mistakes that make you feel guilty for the rest of your life. You don't inadvertently make the financial mistakes that will haunt you for a long time.
Right.
those kind of decisions. So again, if you can pull back and pull in, lean in, and also get the right help, like whether it's a divorce doula, a divorce coach, whatever you got to get, you got to do it. But you really have to make sure that and to keep your cup replenished
Mhm.
so that you'll know what to do.
Yeah. It is so much easier to say that than to actually do it.
I know.
Because, I mean, a lot of my guests on here talk about, like building a divorce team, which I
Yes.
wish I had done
Gosh,
because
I wish I
I
even
didn't
knew
know.
that that was a
I mean, I
thing.
don't even think when I went through my divorce, I don't even think divorce coaches were a thing.
No,
We
me
had
neither.
money to spend on a therapist. I was hardly able to pay my attorney.
Yeah. No,
And,
I understand. I
yeah, so I
understand.
mean, but realizing now how being on the other side
Yeah.
and realizing how much quicker I could have gotten to the point that
Uh-huh.
I am now if I had you or, even other people on that team,
Right.
that would have made my life my new normal much quicker
Yes.
than it took for me to get here on my own.
I have this thing that, I always laugh and I tell everybody, I said, I literally save you years and tears, and I'm, got a program that they can go through and kind of like a membership and, just that support. There's just no way. I mean, looking and literally God put it on my heart to actually build that after I got up off the floor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
But,
mean? It was
that
amazing.
I feel like that's the way it works, though.
It is.
We go through things so that we can, be there for others and to help lead
Yes.
the way, so
100%.
I completely understand that.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned, and I wanna ask you again, why do they call you the shame slayer? You mentioned that, on
Yeah.
one of the things. Why do they call you that?
Okay, so, it's literally we've been conditioned, to live in that whole shame or whatnot, just, from an early age on, and when you go through divorce, as firsthand, there's a scarlet letter, that
Yeah,
comes with that, and, I mean, it's real. I don't care what people say, but it's real. It's a lived experience,
right.
and so I literally come in and I help take off that shard of shame, and so because I'm not playing with her, she is mean. She is just a nasty witch. I'm just telling
Oh,
you, shame it.
shame slayer. I
Yes, so
gotcha.
I am I'm all about getting rid of that. So,
I love that. See, I would have never known that's why you were called that. I'm glad. I'm
yeah.
glad I brought that back up again. That is so cool. Well, I see too that you have something else that's called the Freedom Tour.
Oh my
What is
gosh.
that? What is that?
The Freedom Tour was like I said, it was birthed. It was given and it was birthed, out of mine. And, doing the work that I do, from my coaching and consulting practice to I really wanted to translate it also to helping rebuild, invent and reemerge for women, but also put that whole psychological safety, the nervous system component in it, all of that so that we could honestly ditch the performative and the shame BS and everything else so that we could actually use a blueprint, right? That's really what it is. It's a blueprint for not only getting to know yourself again because listen, you're a different person after you go through a divorce. You just really are. Everything shifts and you have to really determine who's going to stay, who's going to go, what are you going to do, how are you going to show up, not only for your
Mm,
kids if you have them but for yourself. And then also, I mean, everything is shifted. So it's a blueprint to help walk them through
mm.
really architecting a beautiful life and becoming who they are meant to be
That is
outside of
so
all of
cool.
the other stuff.
That is so cool. So now is most of this done in person? Can people do it online? Do you do it across the United I mean, like, can anybody that hears this, like, be involved with this? How
Yes.
does all
Well, okay, so, yeah, it's really global, and what I mean by that and it's digital, which means that it is literally an 8-week program that you can do it in your jammies if you want to. I've had you wouldn't believe. So, let me back up for a second. There's probably been over 200 and a handful, right, of beautiful women who've gone through it in 9 different countries now
wow.
and counting. We're still trying to, get there and add, but it's really been beautiful because it's a kind of a on your own time, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we're all time
Mhm.
starved, let's be very honest, and so,
Right.
especially if you're trying to normalize children, you got, a job too, and you don't have a lot of time. You don't have time to go sit in class or things of
Yeah.
that nature, but, that's one of the reasons I did it like I did. I wanted to make it a digital product so that anybody, anywhere could have access to it at any time. I
Right.
mean, I've got one of the beautiful women that went through it, she said, "You were in my ear every morning as I drove,
Yeah.
after I dropped the kids off, I turned you on and, then I could listen to what I was supposed to do,
Yeah.
and, then after on my way home from work and, to get the kids, I could listen, again. You were constantly in there, and the greatest part about that too is that sometimes with live event, the live doing it, you wanna go back and listen again, and you really can't.
Right.
So,
Right.
I've had, one of my girls, it was so sweet. She said, "I've listened to that one module like 4 times because I just needed to get it in my head." And so, this is at your own pace in your own like I said, if you
Yeah.
wanna do it with your pajamas, if you
Yeah.
wanna do it on the way to work, whatever, I wanted to make it really accessible so that, you could do it.
Mhm.
So that was really what was behind that, yeah.
But now, do you do things individualized? Like if
Yes.
somebody wants to contact you and work with
Mhm.
you like one-on-one, you
Yeah,
do that also, right?
I do. It's really funny, somebody said, "You're kinda like a doula. You're like a divorce doula, but you're like a doula of possibilities." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's really kinda neat."
Yeah, it is. It's kinda accurate too.
Yeah, it was really funny. So, yes, I just still do, one-on-one client work, absolutely. One of the things that I love so much, Lori, is not only the one-on-one and the people that take the digital. I have a monthly membership that is really beautiful too because that allows people, twice a month to pop in, you know, and ask the questions or just share or, just have that community, community feel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, one of the things that we've done too is we've been doing retreats and, retreats all over the world.
Yeah,
And so,
I thought you did some live events.
yes, we do. And it's just, it's beautiful because we all have had this, crazy shared experience that, have really, I guess for the honesty is forged us in fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, when we can get together and play, because that's really what we've forgotten to do. We've forgotten how
Right.
to play and how to love and to laugh and to be. And so
Mhm.
it's a beautiful opportunity for that. So it's a time of celebration, really.
Yeah. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. What have we missed that you would want anybody else to know? Did we hit on everything, or is there anything that I missed and didn't ask you about?
I don't know. I just want to stop for 1 second and acknowledge the work that you're doing
Mm.
because, as I always comment, right, on your posts and, and LinkedIn, whenever you shared your, previous podcasts and things of that nature, what you're doing is you're bringing all this expertise out to the world to really show, that you don't have to do it alone, right? And I think that, that's the beautiful thing that what you're doing is you're creating kind of a bond with people, but you've been kind of a trailblazer with this. I mean, you're the first that I've ever heard of that's doing something like this of this nature. And I think that you definitely should take this nationwide and global because yes, yes, and yes, because I mean, what you are offering for people is to understand what, you mentioned it a little bit ago. You said something about, oh my gosh, when I was getting a divorce, like me, there was
Ugh,
none of this stuff around. We
I
didn't,
know.
hell, divorce team, what was that? I mean, I had a lawyer that I probably used as a therapist who made my bill go way high. You
Right.
know what I mean? But there was nothing at the time, out there, and so what you're doing is you're providing this wonderful, beautiful, sacred service is what I call it, to all of these people out in the world that can help them. So I just wanna say thank you to you.
You are so sweet, and this is what you do so well, is make people feel so special.
Well, but you are.
But I mean, I appreciate it. I honestly wish I had had all this information.
Oh, me too.
I feel like so many people go into a divorce, whether you're a man or a woman, if
Yep.
you do not come from some kind of field that touches divorce in some way, you go in as a baby, the knowledge of a
Yes.
baby, and the terminology, just everything that is used. I
Yeah.
mean, like, when you say mediation, I could give you 5 different examples of different kind of mediations and then mean all different things, you know?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that was the kind of stuff. I mean, collaborative divorce, what the heck's that?
What was that?
Arbitration, what's that? I mean, there's just so much.
Yeah.
So that was really I have just been so honored that the experts in these various fields like yourself are taking the time to do this because not me bringing it, but it's a wonderful service that you guys are giving this, your expertise out for free. Because I mean, especially family law attorneys, they would charge for a
Oh,
30-minute
I know.
consultation. So
Exactly.
I'm
But that's
thrilled.
the okay, so but that's the beauty of what you've been able to do. You've been able to I guess you're a bridge if you think about it, right? And you help people in so many different ways. Not only, what you're doing, with your real estate as well, right? But I mean, you're really helping people bridge that gap and also helping them kind of think, like I said, kind of out the box, just like I do. Hey, here, did you know about this? Did you know about that? Like you said, most of us didn't. And so what you're at a very critical, beautiful position to really help people through this whole sacred experience.
Oh, you're sweet. I appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
have things stirring in my head. We'll see where it goes.
Yay! I
But
love it.
back to you. For those of the people that may just be listening, tell people how they can get in touch with you. How can they contact you?
Absolutely. You can contact me a whole host of ways. I am on Facebook. It's Hilary Porta. I'm on LinkedIn under, again, Hilary Porta. You can look at my website. It's hporta.com. Okay. And the one that's specifically about divorce is, and you can reach it through the H Porta site. However, the one that's very specific to divorce is called theschlayer.com.
There you go.
And it will give you all the information that you probably would ever need. It's got everything from videos and a lot of testimonials to what the program is about and to actually, pop in and all about the membership as well.
Spell Hillary, just because I know there's different ways to spell. How do you
Yes.
spell Hillary?
I'm Hilary with one L. So it's Hilari. And my last
Perfect.
name is P as in Paul, O-R.
Perfect. That is perfect.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you again, Hillary.
Thank
Honestly, I
you.
am thrilled that you were here. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of this, a lot of good information out of this. And I hope a lot of people will reach out to you because I know you do good work.
Oh, thank
So
you
I
so much.
really appreciate you being on here. It was so good to see you
Oh,
again.
you too. Thank you, Lori. I appreciate it so much. And you just keep pressing on because, like I
I
said,
will.
what you're providing is just invaluable.
You're sweet. You're a breath of fresh air. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The information contained herein is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, please seek an attorney.